Thursday to the Ungovernables, the captain's crew, the LFA family, McGroin Nation. Coming live from the deep red state of Tennessee on rumble.com/LFA TV. On this, the Ides of May, right? The 15th day of May. Welcome to Ungoverned. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's going to be a heck of a morning. I don't know if you guys are watching what's going on over on X. But we got old Charlie Gasparino triggered again. That guy is just a mess. An absolute mess. I don't think he understands, folks, if you're going to troll on the internet, I like to do it. I don't do it as well as some, but I like to do it. So I realized yesterday, remember I showed you guys what he was saying about tariffs and, I'll buy you an ice cream cone. And the guy was so wrong, he owes me steak and Baskin Robbins at this point. But I noticed yesterday the guy started deleting tweets. I said, Charlie, why did you do that? And he said, I didn't want to showcase you. Oh, okay. Anyway, show's not going to be about Charlie. I just figured I'd mention that. Guy's a complete, total mess. Appreciate it. And you know how many messages I've gotten? You know how many messages I've gotten from people saying, thank you for going at this guy? Man, I mean, I haven't seen somebody as universally disliked in a while. In a long time. All right. Usually, sometimes that means you're doing something right. Usually that means not so good. All right, we're going to get to all that. Folks, there was an ISIS plot foiled in Michigan. Did you hear about this? We're going to get to this story. This is wild. I saw this last night. An ISIS plot was foiled in the great state of Michigan. Anybody from Michigan watching today? I know we usually have a few who say, who tell us that they're watching from Michigan, but this was it's something that not a lot of people are talking about. The news cycle is starting to kind of, it ebbs and flows, right? So you get like all these big stories. Like I know, we'll play some videos. Donald Trump in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia and Qatar, and now there's a Russia-Ukraine meeting, or maybe there isn't now because Putin's a no-show. I don't know what's going on with all that. These guys, both of them don't want to have a war, but both of them want the war. But there was an ISIS plot that was foiled. Michigan, Flipmo, 1776. Flipmo, all right, from Michigan. I know we usually have, I think, C. Gannon, 6513 used to live in Michigan. I know our friend Kelly, I think Kelly Fountain is her name. She's from Michigan. Any Michiganders? Margaret Clark, Greenville, Michigan. So a lot of folks here. I know Gary, Great McGroin from Flint, Michigan. A lot of folks from Michigan in our chat. And this is it's got to hit you kind of close, but thankfully it was stopped. And we'll talk about that before we, and we'll get into several other things. I've got some clips from Saudi Arabia. We'll do a laugh break with Saudi Arabia, but it's also fairly serious. It's fairly serious the way Donald Trump was treated in the Middle East. And to Vita Rosa is from Warren, Michigan. Actually, I think that's where this happened. Vita, did you hear about this? Vita Rose in the chat is from Warren, Michigan. I believe that's where this happened. I think that's where they got him. So we'll get to all that. The way Donald Trump was treated in the Middle East was significant. Now, when I heard about the Qatar Force One, the gift from Qatar, the whole 9 yards, whatever, I wasn't thrilled. Now it sounds like he's not going to be using the plane, but whatever, fine. I don't trust these Muslim countries as far as I can throw them. However, what I will say when it comes to Trump and relationships in the Middle East, every time he did this with the Abraham Accords, every time he goes to the Middle East to try and whether it's negotiate peace or anything, he does so by appealing to these countries and leaders of these countries from an economic and trade standpoint. And folks, that is Trump's wheelhouse. That is Trump's wheelhouse. S. Marvel is in Dearbornistan, Michigan. Yes, it's what it is. That's where all the Rashida Tlaib followers are. So, for all the people, and there are some, and we know, who some of them are and whatever, who continually say, Donald Trump is owned by Israel. Is that why he's currently negotiating and striking deals and securing investments from Muslim countries because he's owned by Israel? Is Candace Owens going to chime in on this one? Is Myron Gaines going to chime in on this one? How about Nick Fuentes, Nick Fuentes said that Misfit Patriot should be killed by the government. Isn't that nice? Misfit gets in these people's heads all the time. This is what he wants. Misfit wants this. But yeah, Nick Fuentes, who's a big free speech guy, but you say something that Nick doesn't like, and all of a sudden he wants you dead. Oh, that's interesting. Where are these people, the woke right? Where are these people who say Donald Trump is owned by Israel? I'm waiting. Because he's out there making deals with Muslim countries. I'm not going to tell you that I like these Muslim countries, but I will tell you that I will defer to Trump's judgment when it comes to trade, economics, and international relations. And I think he's doing this very, very well in the Middle East. He's taking these countries in the Middle East. Some of them don't get along with each other, right? And he is basically saying, look, everybody, if you deal with us, everybody's going to eat at this table. Everybody's going to eat. You're going to have a full plate. But you got to get along and you got to do business with the United States. And what he's doing at this point, he's basically saying it is in all of your best interest to stop the fugaziness out there in the Middle East between your countries and don't cozy up to China. And that's the big one. If there's one thing that we don't want in the Middle East, remember when the Afghanistan withdrawal happened and everybody was afraid who was going to move into Afghanistan? China. If there's one thing that we don't want in the Middle East, it's the Qatari money, it's the Saudi money, it's the influence. We don't want that to go the way of China. We want to keep that away from China. And I know that's how Donald Trump is lining up his pieces on the board here. And I will defer to his job. I don't love these Muslim. Again, I don't like Qatar. I don't think the Saudis are good people necessarily. But they showed you in these clips the amount of respect that they have for Donald Trump. They have not shown a U.S. president this amount of respect in a very long time. It tells you a lot. It tells you a lot. And I think once you've got the respect of these people, right? You may, and I'm not saying influence or manipulate, but you're going to have a far greater chance of achieving peace and lucrative business relationships with these countries. And the goal, keep them away from China. Not China, right? Everybody wants me to say it. I remember when Donald Trump wasn't president for a while, although according to some on the internet, he was always president. But, it was. But I remember there was a meme that just said, I just miss the way he said China, right? Everybody say it. Put it in the chat. China, China. Everybody say China. My Rockabye Rosie video, Rockabye Rosie, you fat, ugly pig. A lot of the comments I saw was like, you hit the China perfectly. I tried, Brennan, when I showed you before I posted it, I was like, look, watch this. This is the best China I think I've ever done. This is the best China. I was like, what was that? How did I even say it? China. I forgot. Oh, I put tariffs on China. It was a picture. I put tariffs on China, and it was the perfect China. I will never do a China as good as I did in the Rockabye Rosie video. Which, by the way, finally, and then we'll talk about OFP Farms. We have a new promotion with OFP Farms now. It's great. Thank you to everybody across all platforms, YouTube, TikTok. Yes, Captain Deplorable is back on TikTok. We are the traffic is there, so we're very good at Captain Deplorable on TikTok. I know some people don't like using it. I like to use it. We have a lot of fun on that platform, especially on live streams. So those will probably, kick off again, just, every now and again, a little short little thing. So to everybody who shared it on TikTok, Instagram, I have never had that type of traffic on a reel that I wasn't collaborating with on Instagram. Thank you. And Facebook, could you believe this? X as well. Everybody who shared it, everybody who's enjoying it, I like to have some fun. You like to have some fun, and we had some fun with the India-Pakistan World War 7-11. That was a big one, and of course, Rockabye Rosie. Rockabye Rosie got some got a lot of laughs as well. So thank you to everybody who did that. We'll get to that terror plot out in Michigan. We'll get to the Middle East. Tom Homan, the Homanator. The thumb. Tom Homan out there. He clapped back at AOC after what she said. We've got some fallout with the left on Joe Biden and his cognitive decline. By the way, today makes Greg Kelly had your 7-Eleven audio on his radio show. Yeah, I know Greg Kelly's a fan. World War 7-Eleven, it's like on the line of being really racist. But I had some folks who were like, I'm from India, and that is hysterical. So, you know what? We all have a lot of fun laughing at each other and laughing at ourselves, and it's a good time. It's a good time. All right, we got also, by the way, like I said, the decline. Today is the 1-year anniversary when Joe Biden accepted the June 27th debate against Donald Trump, where he produced a video that was 15 seconds long and had like 10 jump cuts, which means it took him hours to put that video together. So we got all that. We have, what else? We got Dugan, an update on the Dugan case. Gavin Newsom is absolutely running for president. We'll show you why. We'll have some fun this morning as well. A little laugh break after the half-hour mark with some scenes out of Saudi Arabia. But before we do that, I want to talk to you about our friends at OFP Farms. It's OFPFarms.com, OFPFarms.com. By the way, let me just do a quick little, I'm going to look at over on X. Kimmer Popoff is from Michigan as well. I see Stringfellow Hawk put a China in the chat. Phyllis Ledger put a China in the chat. And Trish T. McVeigh likes the nickname the Homanator. I love that. I call him the Homanator. He's great. He's the Homanator. Beautiful people. China. Let's do it. China. All right. Let's make like a tree and leaf. Let's get into OFP Farms. OFPFarms.com, promo code Sean. OFPFarms.com, promo code Sean. Once again, thank you to everybody who supported OFP Farms throughout the Mother's Day sale. I know Denise and Corey have been sharing some personal details on Facebook and elsewhere. The sales do more than just support an American company that produces extremely just high quality products. They're also going to help Denise figure out kind of what's going wrong. She's got a little health thing going on right now. And these sales are helping offset the costs of medicine and doctors, et cetera. So we greatly appreciate not only your support of the company from a business standpoint, OFP Farms. They're a staple of our parallel economy that we've built here, but also supporting Denise as she kind of navigates through these health issues that she's having. So trust me, I'm thankful for it. I know they're thankful for all the help. They sent over 350 Mother's Day boxes. So round of applause to the OFP and LFA and Ungovernable and McGroin Nation family for all of that. And now they've got something even better going on right now. Hold on to your hats, folks. It's like Samuel L. Jackson in Jurassic Park. Hold on to your butts. Hold on to your hats, folks. Big news coming off of OFP Farms. It is a store-wide clearance extravaganza, all right? Oh, yo, guys. It's a store-wide extravaganza. We should get that kid to do a read for them. It's a store-wide clearance extravaganza from OFP Farms. By the way, that's Tony Cash, NYC, on Instagram. This kid is hysterical. He's like, what do you think? He's 12, 13 years old, right? He acts like your 60-year-old fat Italian uncle. Yo, guys. Nona's olive oil is in the store, $27.99, no problems. How you doing? It's unbelievable. He's already running a mob family. This kid is amazing. Tony Cash NYC on Instagram. I love this kid. Folks, store-wide clearance extravaganza at OFP Farms. The soaps are going for a mere $3 and $6. And those fancy glass lotion bottles are riding off into the sunset. The farm is gearing up for a short staycation, and the website is getting a makeover, so make sure you get that order in while you can. Now is your golden opportunity. Golden, we love gold. Nobody knows gold like I do. Now is your golden opportunity to stockpile your favorite lip balms, soaps, lotions, and magnesium products before they vanish forever. Not the magnesium, but they're giving a makeover there. You heard it right. Go to ofpfarms.com today and get that order in. Big clearance and I guess you can call it a clearance and, makeover promotion here. OFPfarms.com. Goat milk and tallow skincare. Store-wide clearance. $3 and $6 soaps. Plus a 15% discount off of your entire order with the promo code Sean, S-H-A-W-N. OFPfarms.com. Promo code Sean, S-H-A-W-N. OFPfarms.com. Promo code S-H-A-W-N for 15% off on top of other clearance discounts going on at OFPfarms.com. Time out. Guys, I don't know if this is just an extreme allergies thing or if your boy's getting a cold here, but the throat this morning is off the charts hurting. So this is cup of tea number 2, Breathe Easy, eucalyptus. We've also got the sweet tangerine mixed in. I also took a kratom this morning to wake up a little more because, it's just been a wild couple days. But anyway, so I'm going to have to drink that slow or else Chiyoko is going to kick in my small Asian woman bladder. All right, let's get to this terror plot in Michigan. Warren, Michigan, I believe, is where this happened. This is crazy. Have you guys out there, I think Vita Moore was her name in the chat. Have you guys and gals out there heard about this terror plot in Warren, Michigan? I did very well in Michigan, by the way. I do a sinus rinse, by the way, with my saline. It's got Yuki in that, too. Have you heard about it? I did very well in Michigan. Have you heard about it? Vita. Are you still in the chat, Vita? Living la vida loca. Ricky, what's his name? Ricky Martin, right? I got along well with him. But not too well, if you know what I'm talking about. This is what happened out there in Michigan right now. A former member of the Michigan Army National Guard, Ammar... look at that name, Brennan. It looks like someone sneezed and fell on the keyboard. Ammar Abdul-Majid Mohammed Saeed. That's what it looks like. You know when Clover walks across your keyboard? That's what that looks like. That's not a last name. That's not a last. Wow. By the way, I want to tell everybody this. As of right now, as of 12 minutes ago this morning, thank you, everybody. Just everybody out there who's been so supportive of this channel. As of 13 minutes ago, this stream today on LFA TV is already at 208,000 views as of 12 minutes ago. Wow. So, folks, this is the power of sharing. This is the power of hitting that thumbs up button if you guys can do this. And I know you're watching. If you're not in the chat, I know you maybe you got it open in another tab. Listen to me. You know this voice, right? You know who it is. They're going to be like, why is President Trump on LFA TV? He's on there every day. I have to tell you something. Even if you have it open in another tab, get over to the chat and say hello. We're getting new listeners every day. Did you see Vita Rose answered you? Vita Rose, no.
Yes, my sister is there. I moved.
Okay. Did she hear about the terror plot in Warren? I believe it was in Warren. It's your sister. All right. But that's good. Thank you for that reply. I didn't see it because I got to bounce between screens here. But former member of Michigan Army National Guard, Ammar Abdul-Majid Mohammed Saeed, arrested for plotting mass shooting at a military base on behalf of ISIS. The feds arrested a former member of the Michigan Army National Guard, Ammar Abdul-Majid Mohammed Saeed, for plotting a mass shooting at a military base in Warren, Michigan. The DOJ announced that Saeed, who was 19 years old, was charged in a criminal complaint with attempting to provide material support to a foreign terrorist organization and distributing information related to a destructive device. According to the complaint, Saeed informed 2 undercover law enforcement officers of a plan he had devised and formulated to conduct a mass shooting at the U.S. Army Tank Automotive and Armaments Command facility at the Detroit Arsenal in Warren, Michigan. In April of 2025, 2 undercover officers indicated that they intended to carry out Saeed's plan at the direction of ISIS. In response, Saeed provided material assistance to the attack plan, including providing armor-piercing ammunition and magazines for the attack, flying his drone over the TACOM, T-A-C-O-M, that's that Army Tank Automotive Armaments Command, to conduct operational reconnaissance, training the other undercover employees on firearms and the construction of Molotov cocktails for use during the attack, and planning numerous details of the attack, including how to enter the facility and which building to target. On May 13th, the day scheduled for the attack, Saeed was arrested after he traveled to an area near the facility and launched his drone in support of the attack plan. He will make his initial court appearance today in the Eastern District of Michigan. Actually, that was yesterday. The U.S. Attorney's Office will be asking the court to hold Saeed in pretrial detention because of his danger to the community and the risk that he will flee. I got a lot of questions about this guy. I don't know if he's native born. I don't know if he came over the border. I'm not sure. But I'll tell you that. Not a comforting sign when you see these attacks are being planned. However, at least we got him. Right? At least we got him. And I beg, and I don't know the answer to this question. But would this have slipped through the cracks if Joe Biden was president? Now, Donald Trump didn't find the guy, right? And it was law enforcement out there in Michigan. Maybe they would have found him. Maybe they wouldn't have found him. But I always remember, over the last 4 years, right? Every time there was an attack, whether it's domestic terror, transformer terror, the ISIS attack in New Orleans, right, on New Year's Day, Biden was still president, mass shootings at schools, etc. How many times did we hear from law enforcement, well, he was on our radar, well, we were watching him, well, he was on a watch list, right? But they were just like, well, and then you watched him, shoot up an elementary school. This guy apparently was on the watch list or on their radar, and they stopped him. Would they have been able to stop him would they have been able to stop him if Joe Biden was president? I don't know. But I think that's a question worth asking. I will say this. I have much less confidence that he would have been stopped if Joe Biden was president. Much less confidence if Joe Biden was president. All right. So I wanted to lead with that because I know it's not one of these, it's not a quote unquote political story, but it's a news story. Well, you almost had an ISIS attack in Michigan on a military base, but they stopped them. So a round of applause for law enforcement. A round of applause for those undercover officers who did their job and stopped this guy before he committed a heinous attack and killed men and women who are serving our country in the National Guard. So thank you to law enforcement, and we're happy they got this guy. And to those of you guys in Michigan, look, I know under the Biden regime, the whole if you see something, say something thing it really didn't work. But I think it's proven now that the new people are in charge. The Department of Justice is actually taking justice and safety seriously. And I feel safer. I'm not, my guard's not going down, but I definitely feel safer. So thank you. Look at this. What are you talking about, Badman, with a big, beautiful deal? What's happening here?
Oh, because he said having that guy in the National Guard is like having the deer out in our yard watch my garden.
Yes.
It's just not a good idea. So I said, leave the deer out. I'm going to make a big, beautiful deal.
Oh yeah, Brendan is she's going to negotiate with the deer. We got turkeys out there too, and they're pretty cool. Trumpian's in the chat. Hey, Trumpian, we hope you're feeling well. Hello to everybody there. Yeah, we hope you're feeling well, and thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here today, Trumpian. We appreciate it. All right, let's move into this Noem story. Kristi Noem. Our good friend Kelly Walker. He is not too thrilled with the way these Democrats are being treated. With regards to their attack on that ICE facility. So Kristi Noem said that Democrat lawmakers committed felonies at the ICE facility and do not deserve to be in Congress, and I agree. As you heard from a few weeks ago, Kelly Walker gave us his story about what happened in Arizona. Kelly Walker was arrested for being peaceful. Kelly Walker was sentenced to 100 days in jail for being peaceful in Arizona. Kelly Walker had to move his family because of that targeting in Arizona. It never should have happened to a guy like Kelly Walker. Steve Bannon was sentenced to jail time for contempt of Congress. Peter Navarro, same thing. Douglas Mackey is dealing with a case over a meme. You have the wild hog known as LaMonica McIver, who attacked police officers on video. Mayor Baraka from Newark, right, who trespassed and forced his way into an ICE facility. These people, according to Kristi Noem, committed felonies. And you have Mike Johnson, who, I mean, could this guy get any more lukewarm? You got Mike Johnson, who's like, well, we're considering censuring them. Considering censuring them? They should be expelled. When are Republicans going to learn how to fight? Can we just look at something real quick? All right. Mike Johnson can't figure out whether or not to try to expel these people. At least try. If it fails, whatever. You tried. Well, we'll consider censoring them. We'll consider discipline. Consider disciplining them. They did something wrong. They better get disciplined. Kristi Noem says Democrat lawmakers committed felonies at the ICE facility and do not deserve to be in Congress, and I agree. Noem reacted to the Democrat lawmakers who defended their actions as a mere oversight visit by telling Fox News, quote, this was not oversight. This was committing felonies. This was going out and attacking people who stand up for the rule of law, and it was absolutely horrible. Remember AOC? Whoa, it was oversight. This is not oversight. This is not what oversight looks like. That's not oversight. Well, can we then say that the January 6th political prisoners and protesters were just committing oversight on January? Would they ever say that? And if anything, they were, doing more oversight than Congress ever does. And did you see the video of them sleeping? Now, I want to add some context. Because, I like to go hard on Congress about how ineffective and not productive they are. Apparently, and I'll level, I don't think it's an excuse, but it's context. The video of, what happened? Someone's a Jedi legend Rue. Keep saying they are democrats and I will get a slap on the wrist. And yes.
Not what they said, just the name.
Yeah. Jedi legend. Yeah. These aren't the droids you're looking for. Apparently that video of Debbie Dingell and then the Utah representative, her last name's Dingell. Yeah. Yeah, which means essentially her last name means hanging piece of poop that you forgot to wipe off. Yeah. Dingleberry.
That's funny.
It's great. Apparently Dingell and the representative from Utah, Brooks, I believe, they fell asleep in a hearing. And at first I was like, this is crazy. But apparently that was like an all-night hearing. So they were working overnight. Shouldn't be falling asleep. Like, go get a cup of coffee. But that is just context. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to change anybody's mind. I was just adding some context. That's all. All right. So we got Noem here. And I'm going to talk more about this DHS stuff because Tom Homan, the Homanator, right? Mr. Thumbs Up himself. Had some words for AOC yesterday. He responded to some of the things that she said, and I thought it was great. We'll get on the other side of this break. We'll have a little bit of a laugh break with Donald Trump in Saudi Arabia, and then we'll talk about Tom Homan and AOC having it out in the media. Maybe those two are going to get married. I don't know. I don't know. AOC, he's not going to date you. But let's get to a word from our friends over at the LFA TV store. Let's go to the LFA TV store, LFATV.us, LFATV.us, LFATV.us. How do you spell it? Lima, Foxtrot, Alpha, Tango, Victor, Uniform, Sierra. I get so many people when I do that, they're like, were you in the military? I was like, no, I wasn't in the military. But when I worked and I did sales, not to call order in, I would always do that with the people's last names. So that the folks on the other side of the phone didn't spell their names wrong when we were doing credit checks and whatnot. This is the LFA TV store, LFATV.us. Click on that store tab. Scroll down to the Visit the Store tab. Hit that as well. And take a look at everything there is to offer here at the LFA TV store. I mean, there's stuff for everybody. It really is. It's amazing how much merch there is here. There's some OG shirts like this LFA TV shirt. You've also got these tote bags. Hey, they came in handy when we were moving. We were jamming things into everything we could find. You know, I mean, I wonder how easy it is for POTUS to move. He could just shove stuff. Never mind. You almost went there. I actually went there. You guys know what I was saying. You got the Rise Up coffee. This make a good Father's Day gift, right? Good way to, help Dad wake up in the morning, pick up some Rise Up coffee. You got to love it. You got these wonderful hats, tank tops, beach towels. Seriously, there's something for everybody here. I happen to love the mug, right, with all the iconic pictures. You got the fight photo, you got the Trump at McDonald's, the mug shot, and the garbage truck photo. And maybe we should send a mug to Mike Johnson, have him make some coffee. Look at the picture of Donald Trump with the blood on his face, his fist in the air after getting shot, and realize that's what it looks like. That's what fighting looks like. We'll consider censoring the representatives. Are you kidding me? LFATV.us, 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 or JeremyHerald.com/store. LFATV.us or JeremyHerald.com/store. Shelly K in the chat says there were 2 36-hour committees working on getting the big, beautiful bill ready to pass. And that's where the people fell asleep. So, again, falling asleep at work is not a great look. But if you're doing those long hearings and long committees, and it happens, at least they fell asleep doing something. Just figured we would add some context there. Thank you to Shelly K for adding that in the chat. By the way, Bad Moon is mentioning that Congress is very similar to a couple of these items. A screen door on a submarine, an inflatable dartboard, a cup with no bottom. What's another one? A chocolate teapot. Yeah, because it'll melt if you heat it up, right? Chocolate teapot, right? In the House GOP, all of those things are worthless, right? Absolutely worthless and useless, and they don't work. All right, let's get into, let's have a laugh break. Should we have a laugh break? You guys want to laugh and enjoy a scene out of the Middle East? Let me know if you want to laugh. Put a laughing emoji in the chat if you'd like to have a laugh break real quick and enjoy a pretty funny scene in the Middle East. Let me know. Are we in for a laugh break, Brennan? What do we think? Brennan's ready for a laugh break. Let's see. I'm waiting for the chat to tell me. We there we go. I see. We need to see some laughing emojis if you want the laugh break. If not, I'm going to play some. There we go. We got some laughing in the chat. There it is, right there. Everybody wants to laugh. So here we go. Let's get to, there we go. Look at Veronica. Here we go. We're on a little bit of a delay, so it takes a little bit. Look, everyone's chuckling. Look at these laughter. Look at the laughter. Look at the laughter in the chat. All right, let's get to this laugh break. Donald Trump in Saudi Arabia. And there's also a serious thing we can extrapolate from this. But this is the scene yesterday. He gave a speech at Saudi Arabia, in Saudi Arabia. And this was posted yesterday. I'm not sure exactly when it happened, but it almost felt like a rally, didn't it? It almost felt like a rally. Look at the chat is still laughing. Look at all the laughing going on. My goodness gracious. It almost felt like a rally, and they closed out the speech the way Donald Trump always closes out the speech. Take a look.
You have a tremendous future. Thank you very much. And please pay my respects to your father. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, now I want to show you. Hold on, I missed it. Let me show you something here. That gesture right there that the Crown Prince is doing, his hand to his heart, that is a major, major cultural sign of respect in Saudi Arabia, okay? That's a big deal. Now, I know some people were saying, like, why didn't he dance, right? Why didn't he dance? I think Donald Trump was being respectful. I think that was all about. Showing respect to the nation there, which is the right thing to do. As much as I wanted to see him dance, he couldn't just sneak in like a little like. But I don't think that kind of thing. Plus, how funny is it? Because it's Saudi Arabia, it's a Muslim country. The YMCA is sung by gay people. So but think about it, right? The serious thing about that is, first of all, people aren't supposed to touch the crown prince, and the hand to the heart, being on stage, all of that. There were just a large number of instances where Saudi royalty showed Donald Trump respect that they would only show each other. Right? I had a friend of mine tell me yesterday, this sign, when he patted his heart and did that while he was shaking Trump's hand, that is not something that Saudi royalty would do if they thought Donald Trump was the enemy. They treated him like royalty, as Mutt Mom says. And by the way, I want to address Mutt Mom's comment about the work she did with EMS. She said, hey, I worked 48-hour shifts and I never took a nap. And I agree with you. I'm not saying I'm justifying these people in Congress sleeping through their hearings. But some of the information is probably boring. I'm just adding context. I don't want my representative sleeping. And by the way, to Mutt Mom, thank you for working in that field. Very important for doing all that. I agree with your comment, by the way, that they shouldn't be sleeping. I just wanted to add more context. It wasn't like one of these hearings at 10 o'clock in the morning after not working for a week. It was a long hearing. Context is important. That's all. But I don't think they should have been sleeping. What happened in Saudi Arabia? They treated him like royalty. They treated him like royalty in Qatar. They're treating him like royalty in the Middle East. And I think that is, well, it's more than significant, right? And it is getting Israel a little upset. I think they don't want to see Donald Trump cozying up to, and I don't know if cozying up is the right word, but getting along well with these Muslim countries. And look, I support Israel. I support the Jewish people's right to their homeland 100%. I support their right to defend themselves 100%. But I also support our president's right to do America's bidding before any other country's bidding. And this is not saying that we're sidelining our support for Israel, right? This is Donald Trump basically saying, I stand. They know he stands with Israel, but they're still coming to the table for him because they know that he can put together deals where everybody eats, folks. And what do you think in the Middle East, all these countries that he's starting to, coalesce here, getting them away from China? But do you think possibly that he may be doing this also to levy pressure against Iran to end their nuclear program? I mean, there's a lot going on out there in the Middle East. And the fact that he is getting along with Qatar and Saudi Arabia, who, again, I don't trust. I don't trust them, but can they be useful in dismantling Iran's nuclear program? Can they be useful, and especially useful if we take them away from China? Yes. The fact that they're treating him like this is huge. Huge. A lot of people say it, right? Huge. I spell it with a Y. The hell with that H. Get that H out of it. Where is the H? Right? Huge. It's huge. It's so big. It's a pretty big deal. Anyway, I wanted to show you that because that was a cool scene. And it's indicative of how the Middle East feels about him. And I am... I'm happy to see that he's trying to have peaceful and cordial and professional business relationships with these countries. It's what Donald Trump does best. All right, I want to get to this. The Homanator on Newsmax. This was great with, I forgot her name. Greta Van Susteren. There it was. Responding to AOC's comments. Remember AOC yesterday? We're going to have a problem if you lay a finger on our representatives. Tom Homan clapped back at her. This is great. So here we go. Watch this. Enjoy this. It's about 3 minutes long, but it'll go by quick. I may end it a little sooner, but Tom Homan belittles AOC just perfectly. Here you go.
DHS is allegedly looking into arresting members of Congress who were showing up for their legal and constitutional obligation to conduct oversight. If anyone's breaking the law in this situation, it's not members of Congress, it's the Department of Homeland Security. It's people like Tom Homan and Secretary Kristi Noem. You lay a finger on someone, on Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman, on Representative, or any of the representatives that were there, you lay a finger on them, we are going to have a problem.
Board Czar Tom Homan joins me. Good evening, sir. And since you were named in that, your thoughts on what Congressman AOC says about you and whether or not if you lay a finger on, or maybe you can tell me whether arrests are likely. What can you give me an update?
Well, first of all, I am extremely intimidated. Wow. Look, she's foolish. Bottom line is, as she's been yelling and screaming for the last 4 years, no one's above the law, including members of Congress. I've said from day one.
What did he say? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What did Tom Homan say? He said our favorite phrase. You know when someone says it, what we have to do? Roosters in the chat, everybody. Thank you. All right, we'll get back to it. We'll play more Homan.
Mind you, but you can do that. You can protest against ICE. Okay, I disagree with you, but you can do that. But you can't cross the line. You can't cross the line of impediment. You can't cross the line of knowingly and harboring or concealing an illegal alien. And you certainly can't trespass on the ICE detention facilities. And you can't violate the law. So when you cross that line, we'll ask the Attorney General to prosecute, and that's what we're doing.
And has there been a response from Attorney General Pam Bondi? Is she looking into it? Is it likely? Can you give me the latest on that?
I can tell you there's lots of video being reviewed. There are statements being taken from witnesses. So we'll see where the investigation leads. Wherever the investigation leads, that's what we decide what to do. But, Alina Hobb will make the ultimate decision if anybody more is going to be prosecuted. I've seen the videos, and I think the Congress people that were there were extremely unprofessional. This is a facility. They've been screaming and yelling. We demand due process. We demand due process for illegal alien gang members, terrorists. And here's a facility that gives them that due process, and they want to shut it down. They want to prevent ICE from operating that facility. And when you force your way in a facility, when you cause chaos...
that was the highlights right at the beginning of that, but there you go, look. Come on, nobody's above the law, right? Nobody's above the law. It is one of my favorite things to see. And yes, he almost did drop a sugar honey iced tea on Newsmax. He said she's full of shh. He caught himself at the last second, which is just great. But Tom Homan is right. Nobody's above the law. And he said, "Oh, I'm so intimidated," because AOC was like, "If you lay a finger," and Tom Homan was like, "Oh, I'm so intimidated. Oh, I'm so scared." He also mentioned that it is going to be up to Alina Habba, right? Alina Habba will be the one who decides if the Democrats face arrest. But that wasn't. The rooster was on the screen. I forgot to bring the rooster down. Here we go. Here's another one. Homan on with fake Jake Tapper on CNN talking about AOC's comments as well. Here's more of the Homanator.
First of all, you can't intimidate me. Come on, give me a break. I was enforcing him. I was wearing a green uniform, Border Patrol agent, for 5 years before she was even born. I had more than 3 decades enforcing immigration law before she became a member of Congress. I worked for 6 presidents. I've seen policies. I've seen hundreds of policies. Some worked, some didn't. But you can't deny the success of the Trump administration when it comes to border security. Again, the most secure border in the history of this nation. And I said from day one, and she knows this, you can not support ICE. Shame on you. You can support sanctuary cities. Shame on you. But you can't cross the line. You can't knowingly impede ICE law enforcement officers. That is a felony. You can't harbor and conceal, knowingly harbor and conceal an illegal alien from ICE. That is a felony. And you certainly can't commit criminal trespass. And as far as New York, her district, This administration has done more to protect her district than she has. The number of criminal aliens we took off the streets of New York made her community much safer. She ought to be thanking the members of this administration, the men and women of ICE who protect this country and make her community safer. So, it's politics over public safety. It's just ridiculous. She ought to love her community more than she hates Trump, because we're doing a lot to protect her community.
She ought to love her community more than she hates Trump. Man, now that's a border czar. That is a border czar. He actually gave comments to Fox in the hallway somewhere, and he said, I've been successful as border czar. Border secure. Tom Homan, easily one of the... It's so cool that we got to see him in Franklin. And he kept saying how pissed off he was and all that. That guy's been he's been an absolute rock star. And he's seen some really bad things. And AOC, thinking she's gonna intimidate him. If you lay a finger. He was like, basically, there's a bug on my... To AOC. Goodbye. All right. I love that. By the way, I have an update on Dugan. The hog from Michigan. I'm not from Michigan. From Milwaukee. Judge Dugan. She wants her case dropped, which obviously she wants the case dropped. But think of the reason why she wants this case dropped is she thinks she has immunity. In other words, she thinks that the hog Judge Dugan, is above the law. No, sirree. You are not above the law. You are a judge and you have to abide by the law. She is claiming that she has what's called judicial immunity. She's scheduled to be arraigned today, where she's expected to enter a not guilty plea. Judge Dugan thinks that she's protected by judicial immunity. Judicial immunity protects judges for acts within the scope of their, judicial jurisdiction. It protects judges from being sued or prosecuted for actions taken in their official judicial capacity, even if those actions are allegedly erroneous, biased, or malicious. However, there are two key limits to judicial immunity, okay? Non-judicial acts, which are classified as judge taking actions that are administrative or personal, not part of their judicial function. Immunity does not apply. Clear lack of jurisdiction. If a judge acts completely outside their legal authority or jurisdiction, they can lose immunity. Here's why judicial immunity may not apply to the hog judge that we know as Judge Dugan. Based on the charges, these are the charges that she's charged with, right? Obstructing justice and concealing a person wanted for arrest. She directed or allegedly directed a defendant and his attorney to use a private exit to avoid ICE agents wanting to arrest him. She was not presiding over a hearing for that defendant at that time. So he had nothing to do with her. This was not something that she was doing in her quote-unquote judicial capacity. She acted covertly to interfere, allegedly, of course, with federal law enforcement, possibly outside the scope of a judicial proceeding. Those facts could, and probably do, support the argument that her conduct was administrative or even obstructive, hence the charge obstruction of justice, not part of a formal judicial act, such as issuing rulings, holding hearings, or sentencing. If the court finds that those acts were not a judicial act, she is unlikely to be protected by judicial immunity. So I think that the hog of Wisconsin, right? Judge Dugan, I think she's in some trouble. Right? All right. Oh, we need some thumbs up, guys. We need some likes. We got 10 minutes to go. We're close to 700. All right. There's about 10,000 people watching right now. If everybody who's watching, I don't care, maybe you have it on another tab. Maybe you're listening. You're at work. Fine. Cool. Thank you for being here. Do us a favor. Just open that tab up and hit that thumbs up button for the show and for the stream. We're crushing it when it comes to the total number of views. Right now, 227,000 views up to this morning, right? This stream is already at 227,000 views. That's almost half of what we did yesterday, which was almost close to 500,000 views for the channel yesterday. Folks, thank you so much for sharing and being here and supporting us. It is really helping us grow. It'll help us grow even more if you guys can snap a little, hit the thumbs up button quick. Make sure you are subscribed to this channel, rumble.com/LFA TV. And for our show, for the individual show, Ungoverned, if you can, go to any podcasting platform and hit that subscribe button. Leave us a review. We would greatly appreciate it. Anywhere you get your podcast, search Ungoverned, hit subscribe. LFA TV Jeremy Harrell with LFA, Live from America, is next in about 10 minutes for the next 2 hours. Let's move on to another story. Gavin Newsom, I believe, is running for president. This is not, breaking news, right? But there are some people who are like, what? We got it. All right, here we go. Mo time. There he is. We threw him up in the air. He took flight. Flying hog. That's a flying hog. This hog is better than Judge Dugan. He's a hedgehog, not a hog. All right. Gavin Newsom is running for president. I firmly believe it. If anybody here was maybe on the fence about it, I don't know, this should clear that up. Gavin Newsom is now apparently going to be cutting the health benefits for illegal aliens and is going to be at least attempting to clean up the homeless encampments in California. Obviously, it's not a good look for him in California if he wants to run for president, to have homeless people and illegals all over the place leeching and mooching off of the system. This, I think, is a move that he is taking to appear as a moderate. He is definitely running for president. I would be shocked if he didn't run for president. Absolutely shocked. All right. Finally, there's a lot of fallout going on right now over this Joe Biden cognitive decline stuff. Before I get to, because, Jake Tapper wrote a book, as if he wasn't one of the people covering it up, right? Jake Tapper wrote a book about it, about how the media completely missed the story. Blah, 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 blah. Missed the story. You guys knew about it and covered it up. I want to play a clip from, look, I've been very hard on Congress, right? I'm very tough on them. They're not working. They're not getting enough work done. They're not taking it seriously. They're not reining in judges. But it doesn't speak for all members of Congress, the House and the Senate, the bicameral legislature, as they call it, right? 2 houses. This is one of the good ones. Okay, his name's Andy Ogles. You guys have probably heard of him. Used to be my representative. One of the worst parts. Everything else, I love the move. I would do it 10 times out of 10, but now Andy's not our rep, right? But even though Andy's not our rep, he reached out to us after the swatting, and we sat down and had a conversation with him, and he took it very seriously, and he still takes it very seriously. He's a good guy. He's one of the good ones. He wants to work. Listen to this.
Instead of thanking you and your leadership and thanking the president, the mayor of Nashville criticized and attacked law enforcement verbally. He then instructed members of law enforcement to report any communication with federal authorities. He then directed the Police Community Oversight Board to direct citizens to file complaints against law enforcement if they cooperate with federal law enforcement. Considering we've seen a 400% increase against federal law enforcement, do these types of statements and actions by a municipal leader concern you?
Yes, absolutely. They perpetuate the violence against law enforcement officers. And what happens many times then is that our agents within the Department of Homeland Security go into situations with no backup, with no local response of people who know the communities, know the routes, the roads, or the needs to emergency services that may be there. So it absolutely makes them much more vulnerable to a situation to which their lives could be in jeopardy.
Yes, ma'am. And if a municipal leader is found to be aiding and abetting illegal immigrants to evade federal law enforcement, would that be a criminal act?
Yes, I believe it would, sir.
And if elected officials impede ICE or Homeland Security in doing their job and pursuing illegal immigrants, would that be a criminal act?
I believe so.
Madam Secretary and Mr. Chairman, I will be asking the Committee of Homeland Security and Judiciary to be looking into the mayor of Nashville and any collusion or impeding of federal authorities in conducting their work in the city of Nashville. I would also encourage this committee and judiciary to look at other leaders, municipal leaders across the country, as they obstruct this administration, this Madam Secretary and her employees in doing their constitutional job, which is uphold the rule of law. Madam Secretary, I thank you, and I yield back.
Andy Ogles wants the mayor of Nashville charged with crimes. He's one of the few who's actually doing something in Congress. And you know what? It's cool. We got to spend some time with him, and election night was fun with him. And Kelly was there too. Kelly Walker. We watched the election, and Kelly and I remember we were sitting at the table, Brennan, me, you, Kelly, and Brendan Babcock. He's a school board member, and we voted for him in Murray County. And Mickey Shelton, yeah. And then Lana Hines came over, right? So we were all hanging out at that table, and we had our computers up. We were like command center. We got the news, the numbers, and I was like, we want Georgia. We want everyone to start screaming. It was such a great night. But Andy Ogles is one of the good ones, guys. So when I'm hard on Congress and tough on them, I'm not talking about that guy. That guy means business, and he puts his money where his mouth is. I hope there are higher offices in that man's future. I hope there are higher offices in that man's. I don't know. That would be cool. That would be cool. We'd have a good time with President Andy Ogles. All right. Let me just show you this. Chuck Schumer covering up Joe Biden's decline real quick, and then we will pass it off to Jeremy Harrell at 10 o'clock for 2 straight hours. But this is just a little bit of infighting going on. It's kind of fun to watch. Get your popcorn.
I really do want to ask you about something that has been breaking out of CNN. Our Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson have written
breaking
a book
out of CNN.
called Original Sin, and they call it a cover-up of Biden's.
They say it's breaking. It's not breaking news that Joe Biden got old.
Health and his cognition and his fitness, quite frankly, to be president of the United States. You sat next to Biden in the Oval Office February 27th, 2024, just a handful of months before the president took that debate stage. And it was later reported that you and other Democratic leaders were talking before the debate about having a plan. You and Hakeem Jeffries, Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama. I understand you later denied that ever happened. But I am curious, I'm interested to know whether the man that you saw sitting there on that couch on that day, you were in there, you saw him up close and personal. Did you really not have any idea that he was not fit to serve a second term?
Casey, we're looking forward. We have the largest Medicaid cut in front of us. We have the whole federal government
You're facing all of
risk.
this because you lost a presidential election. And
Look,
is that not Joe Biden's responsibility for deciding to run again?
We're looking forward.
Chuck Schumer doesn't want to answer questions later in that on that panel. Chuck Todd absolutely filleted Chuck Schumer. It's your fault. It's this. Everybody knew it. You all covered it up. You were all complicit. Stop whining. Stop whining. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Soaring Sparrow asking if I have a Rumble channel. I do. I post a lot of my funny videos there. Maybe there'll be some more stuff there in the future. We'll see. But we really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Jeremy Harrell is coming up next, live from America. For the next 2 hours, as President Trump says, we will never give up, we will never give in, and we will never, ever surrender. And if all else fails, we will just become ungovernable. Thank you. God bless you. God bless this one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everyone, please continue to share the show. Hit that thumbs up button as Jeremy comes on live for the next 2 hours. And in the words of the great, maybe somewhat great, and maybe sometimes funny, John Fetterman, good night, everybody. Bang gavel. We'll see you tomorrow morning. It's Phone Call Friday. Calls the second half of the show. Until then, have a great day, and we will be back tomorrow.